Hey everybody, how you doing? So today I'm going to show a build with Hydroid. I used to not be a huge fan of Hydroid. I thought his playstyle was a little boring. You tended to just camp, mostly let other people kill stuff, and he was really only used as a loot frame because of his 4 augment. So one thing that got me to play Hydroid was this deluxe skin, because wow, in my opinion, this is one of the coolest looking skins in like the game. It really looks amazing. So props to DE. Just like I didn't even really modify this yet, outside of just adding this cool snake sigil you can get now. It's just gorgeous. So let's go into the build. So this is kind of a build where everything in your loadout kind of works together. So it's also kind of like a combo type build. That's all I'll explain that. So corrosive projection just for reducing armor. Honestly, you do have a lot of armor strip from corroding barrage, so you can kind of run pretty much whatever. If I added eventually I'd probably want to add an aura forma and add brief respite to this. I think Hydroid would benefit tremendously from this. So I think having brief respite would probably be the best option. Or you could also have enemy radar would be extremely good. So a lot of good options. You don't really need any one particular thing. I'm also running enemy radar and the Exilus. Enemy radar is really, really, really good when you're doing higher level content with a squishy frame. Enemy radar will save your bacon. Learning how to position and move out of enemy's line of sight and utilize rolling guard and shield gating, it really can make squishy frames tick. And I've been having a lot of fun with frames like Banshee, these frames that are really squishy, but they can do higher level stuff. You just have to be a little more careful. And that's annoying for some people, but for me, it's actually a fun part of those frames. So you can see here, stacking mostly range. I'll be using Ensnare again. As I've gone through the Helminth abilities, I really just think Ensnare is a real sleeper. For me, like damage and Warframe isn't usually an issue, so I don't really get why people are putting Roar on everything. I generally don't have much trouble killing enemies. It's more having my frame survive to do the powerful things that the frame can do to kill the enemies, rather than needing the damage to kill the enemies. So I've really been enjoying kind of the more utility options and crowd control options that you can get from Helminth. So this build has 2 augments. So some duration, a lot of range. Duration just kind of helps, keep enemies CC'd longer. Makes your tidal surge goes a little farther. So yeah. It's just nice to throw on prime continuity. Rolling guard, absolutely fantastic on any squishy frame. This absolutely makes this build work. Primed flow, more energy is great. A bunch of range. Don't care about strength for this build because the chance to get corrosive procs does not scale off of strength. So you can drop your strength down and it won't affect Tempest Barrage, and this is important. So corroding barrage, so now your 1 has a 100% chance to inflict corrosive status effects. Pilfering Swarm, because this augment is just so good. Even though this isn't like a camping Hydroid build, it's still really great to run this. It just helps with like energy orbs and life support and blah blah blah. Natural talent is really nice on this build. I really like this. It just, because you're using abilities so much, it just makes it flow so much better. And then I'm running Aegis and Energize. If you don't have Energize, you could do something like, maybe drop range for Streamline or drop Pilfering Swarm for Streamline. I don't really think you 100% need Energize. You can probably, sorry, don't drop Pilfering Swarm. Drop Natural Talent for Streamline maybe. With Pilfering Swarm giving so many extra drops, you usually have a ton of energy. So you can probably get away with just running Zenuric. I'm also running a Death Cube just because I really like this companion. One important thing to note, since I'm on the Death Cube, I did in the past, I usually run this as Corrosive and Blast because those are status effects I don't usually have on my weapons, so this is providing 2 additional status effects. However, with this, I switched it to Viral and Radiation because I'm already applying Corrosive with Corroding Barrage. My kick gun here, another thing is I really love dual wielding pistols and glaives. I think it's just like one of the most like badass things in Warframe, and it looks super cool. So I just, I wanted to when I found a build that could kind of leverage that, I was really excited. So honestly, the only reason that this is here is to pop bubbles. So to pop bubbles from Eximus units, to pop bubbles from nullifiers, stuff like that. So there's a couple different like flavors that you can use for this build. So one, so if you don't know, when you throw a glaive, and so you can either throw a glaive if you hold F and you get your melee only mode active. If you use your heavy attack, it will throw the glaive, and pressing melee while it's midair will explode it and make it come back to you. Additionally, you can switch to your secondary and you will dual wield your secondary and a glaive. And if you hold down melee, so default E, it will charge up a throw and then throw it, and if you hit melee again, it will explode in midair and come back. That explosion is considered a heavy attack. So it scales off of your combo counter. It gets benefits from the crit mod bonuses to heavy attacks, stuff like that. So there's like a couple flavors to this build. So there's kind of 2 options. So one, you can run a heavy attack build, and so you can run Sacrificial Steel, Corrupt Charge, blah blah blah. You can use Condition Overload, and this is where some of the synergy with Hydroid's kit comes in. So you're applying corrosive effects through your 1, magnetic procs from your 4, viral radiation, and some IPS from your Sentinel. And then I'm not even using a new core or anything. You could also run a new core and get way more status effects. So you can actually a lot of times with heavy attack builds, you want to just use prime pressure point. But because you're just applying status effects through your abilities, you can actually make use of condition overload. So bare minimum, you're getting 2 procs from your abilities plus whatever else you get on there. So you can definitely make use of condition overload. I threw in shock. So I was testing this build out without my Riven just to make sure it actually worked. It worked totally fine. Honestly, the only reason I like this Riven is it has combo duration on it, which makes it a little easier to use the other build I use on this. So this is like a heavy attack build. This will work totally fine. The other thing I run is this. This is kind of more interesting. So in place of this, you can just run combo duration. But so here, I was messing around with this, and I started using Relentless Combination. And so this is when when slash procs deal damage, you get melee combo counter. Well, Glaive Prime has an interesting feature where Glaive Prime explosions when it's midair have forced slash procs. So this gets a lot of value. So what you can do is just ensnare enemies, group them together, chuck your glaive at them, and real quick you're going to be at pretty high combo counter. And then we have Focus Energy combined with the Zenuric passive to give you melee combo efficiency. So you get your 90% cap on combo efficiency. So once you get this up, you're not really using it that much anymore. You're not using up all your combo. And it's constantly regenerating from this. So once again, you can run Condition Overload, Prime Fever Strike for the damage. So I made this makes corrosive, which is fine. It's more raw damage. Blood Rush for the crit chance, as opposed to, because we're stacking up our combo counter really high, we don't really need Sacrificial Steel. This is going to give us more crit when we're at higher combo. Additionally, the heavy attacks will be scaling off that combo counter. So we're going to be getting a lot of damage off this. And I just put quickening just for more, just so it stacks up faster. I already went over the companion. Honestly, you don't need to run Death Cube. I just, for some reason, like this little fella. Think he's cute. And Hellstrom is really nice. You can totally run, like, the Panzer Vulpaphyla, Smita Kavat, whatever. Doesn't really matter. Up to you. So the node and the couple nodes in Xeneric. Xeneric's really nice for this. Obviously the extra energy is great. That's always useful. Inner Might is fantastic. It's basically a free reflex coil without taking up a mod slot. And it increases your melee heavy attack efficiency, which lets you get that 90% in conjunction with focus energy. So this is one of those builds that really, really works. Infinitely better, not in the Simulacrum. So let's just jump into a real mission. I'm going to show this off for a minute or two and then wrap it up. But this is not your normal Hydroid. You're just chucking glaives all over the place. You're you're constantly moving around. So another really nice synergy with this kit. So let me just demonstrate the glaive. So you throw it out, you hit E again, it comes back. You can kind of shotgun it and like hit it really close. So one of the nice like synergies with this is that Hydroids 2 like really, really nicely groups enemies up. Okay, so you see I chucked my glaive at them. Boom, combo counter stacking up. Alright. So now if I do it again, oh, orange crits, okay. Alright, so a nice thing is Hydroids 2 like really nicely stacks enemies up for ensnare. So this is kind of the combo. You stack enemies up with Hydroids 2, and so I'll do it to these. Oh, these guys are already CC'd. So you stack enemies up with Hydroids 2, you ensnare, you tap your 1, tap your 4, you don't need to hold. You can hold Hydroid's abilities for like additional functionality. You don't need to do that here. So this was kind of a bad spot, but so I'll use kind of the more shotgun-y thing there. So let me group these guys up, slurp them up. Throw this down, and so enemy radar, super important. You really want to be mindful of where the enemies are. So that's really, really important with this build. Use rolling guard where you have to. But yeah, it's this build's really fun. I was messing around with this on stream, and I kind of just more or less like happened to throw it together, and yeah, it's really, really fun. A lot of really nice synergies. You do get the extra loot from Tentacle Swarm, but from Pilfering Swarm, but you're not just sitting around like doing nothing, And your 2 really provides that like additional immunity windows. You can use your 2 when rolling guard is down, right? Also, make sure you cast Ensnare before your 1, because Tempest Barrage will ragdoll enemies, and if you cast your 1 first and then Ensnare, they'll still get ragdolled. So yeah, use that first. You don't have to use Pilfering or Tentacle Swarm if it's just like a couple enemies. That's more for when there's like a lot of enemies together that it's useful. So gonna group them up. Do a little combo action here. Boom. Got those nice big glaive crits. And I just like absolutely love glaives just in general. So I was like really excited when I kind of put together a build that could actually use glaives well. And so with Relentless Combination, it kind of just works because either you're killing enemies with your glaive, or you're not, in which case, you're stacking up your combo counter again. Oh god, that is just, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. The juicy crits. Always nice to see those. Say you kind of just, there's not many over here. But with Pilfering Swarm, super easy to keep your combo counter up. Yeah, if you have to, use Rolling Guard. Use your immunity from your 2. where necessary. Oh, see there, I went too long and I lost my combo counter. So got to let it stack up again. But, you know, it's forced slash procs, and slash procs are really good. So, you know, it will just kill stuff. So yeah, this build is, you know, I was really surprised, honestly. I didn't think that I would ever like Hydroid. And then I tried this build and I was like, oh, this is actually super, super fun. So yeah, it just feels pretty cool. You know, you're just this pirate water dude just chucking glaives at people. So yeah, give it a shot. Really fun. I would definitely run a little bit of combo duration if you're gonna go the Blood Rush route. So I would say either use Swift Momentum or just, you know, a normal combo duration mod. And yeah, you can see like there's like life support sitting all over the place, and I have no problem keeping up life support. So yeah, it's just fun. I played this build for like several hours in Steel Path on stream, and I was like, oh man, I gotta stop. Like it's just so entertaining because it's not, you know, I've never been able to make a build before that has like an active playstyle for Hydroid. So that was really exciting. I was really happy about that because Hydroid is a cool frame. Like he actually has pretty cool abilities. I just don't really like sitting in one spot, and I'm not a huge fan of the puddle, even though the puddle is very strong. It's, you know, puddle is definitely a strong ability, but it's just not really my thing. So yeah, it was really nice. So yeah, you can also just chuck your glaive out just to, like, you know, build up combo a little bit. So yeah, I mean, considering I'm basically running no defensive mods on this build outside of rolling guard, it's surprisingly safe feeling. You don't really super feel in danger as long as you're like keeping an eye on the minimap, looking at where enemies are. You know, that's obviously super important. Yeah, and it's actually like okay to kind of leave enemies alive with slash procs ticking because you know you want those slash procs to be built, you know, refilling your combo meter. So we're gonna all right, this will be the last one. I'll kind of end it here, but just gonna slurp them up real quick and then. All right, yep. So yeah, that's the Hydroid build I've been messing around with, and yeah, very fun. I was very pleasantly surprised. You know, I kind of always knew that I thought I was hoping that Hydroid would have a little more potential with Helminth. So I was very pleasantly surprised when it turned out to be the case. So I'll just pop this up one more time. So yeah, give it a shot. Unfortunately, you do kind of have to use Glaive Prime more or less for like really high level stuff. I think a good option for lower level content is actually the Zorus, because the Zorus has the infinite combo meter. However, the Zorus has forced electricity procs on AoE, not forced slash procs. So you can't use Relentless Combination, unfortunately. But for lower level stuff where you can just kill them with raw damage and you don't need slash procs, it doesn't really matter. You know, you can use the same, you know, combo of Zenuric plus combo efficiency to keep your glaive explosions really big. Also, Zorus has a bigger glaive explosion than any other glaive, so it's a pretty big area of effect. So I was messing around with Zorus. That's kind of a nice, like, you know, lower level slash easier to manage slash, you know, probably maybe, you know, a good alternative if you don't have a Riven. Um, so yeah, check it out. Let me know if you like it. It's was really nice for me to actually play Hydroid a bunch and have some fun. So yeah, let me know how it goes. Thanks for watching.